My name is Gabby Eaton, and Josie Walsh, my lovely business partner, and we are very thrilled to welcome you here this morning. And we have such a great group of guests this morning, not just from Kingston area, but across Ontario. So welcome to each of you. We are here to celebrate and salute women in trades and manufacturing during the entire month of June. And we'll be introducing Nicole in a few moments. Just some housekeeping notes. Please keep your mic on mute during the presentation, and the Q&A following the presentation will be there. Please ask your questions in the chat screen next to your screen. Before we begin our presentation, it gives us great pleasure to introduce Scott Darling, project manager and a great supporter of the Women in Business community and sponsor for this morning's presentation. Scott has been with Hawthorne Kitchens for 4 years. Scott's eldest brother, who owns the company, began the business with cabinet manufacturing over a decade ago and recently began fabricating their own quartz and granite counters as well. The company's roots lie in retail renovation, but have embraced a new sector that works with home builders. This sector is a particular passion of Scott, working with many amazing builders in the city of Kingston area. Scott also serves on the board of directors of the Kingston Home Builders Association, which he so enjoys because of his experience and knowledge that comes with being on a board. And as a young person in business, he's very grateful on how open, honest, and helpful every member has been. We were also delighted to learn that Nicole, and you'll be very interested in hearing this, Scott was trained as an underwater welder and worked in that field several years for Dundee Marine. That is awesome. Scott states, I am fortunate to work with a company that focuses so strongly on a great customer experience. And this is the key reason we have a strong network of repeat business. Thank you, Scott, for joining us this morning. We welcome you to share a few words to all our guests about Hawthorne Kitchens. Scott, the show is yours.
Yeah, thanks so much, Gabby. So as you said, that's my background is underwater welding. And I did a reading on Nicole's bio. All the tickets she has, the all position, I didn't get to that level for surface welding. That takes so much dedication and skill. I tip my hat to her, Nicole. That's amazing. It's hard to describe if you're not from the welding world, how much skill it takes to do all the different positions. If you've ever tried overhead welding, it is so difficult. I am no good at it. So nice job, Nicole.
You know, I have a lot of scars from those overhead welding tickets.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely incredible. So a little bit about us. Yeah, we've been open for many years, but we've done a big switch. We started making our own cabinetry because we wanted more control over our product, better service, better value for our customers. And then over a decade later, we said, well, countertops, we want to take the exact same approach with. We want to design, install, template, and fabricate it all ourselves. So when you walk in our showroom, in that same building here in Kingston, everything gets done. Your design, all your selections, your cabinetry gets made, your quartz gets cut, and all the installers, this is where we all start our days. So every part of your process happens here, which is so much easier for you to deal with than trying to hire 10 different companies and coordinating all of it. Such a hassle. So we've done a lot of work with new home builders in the last while, and Kingston, luckily, is a city of amazing home builders. We have so many, and they actually all are very good friends, which a lot of people might not know, that most of the home builders in the city actually all get together and share ideas. It's a really amazing community. And then for our renovation packages, we offer as much or as little as people like. So if you want us to just drop you off the cabinets and you install it yourself, we're happy to do that. If you want to just disappear down south for a month and come back to a new kitchen, we're always happy to do that too. So we believe in just doing whatever fits your needs and your lifestyle. So I will pass the floor over to the star of the
connection. Thank you, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you, Scott. We appreciate it. All right. We are thrilled and have the privilege and opportunity of introducing Nicole LeClair, who's now basically right now in Ottawa, but she's from Burlington. Am I correct, Nicole, in stating that?
That's where I live now. I was born and raised in Ottawa.
Wonderful. Nicole is a welding engineering technologist, welder fitter, and a Red Seal welder. She has 20 years of experience in the industry and over time has also become a welding inspector and attained her International Welding Technologist certificate. She's a skilled technical trainer and educator in all areas of welding. She instructs part-time to Sheridan's College post-secondary welding technique students and is also a welding professor at the Mohawk College Stony Creek campus. Nicole is the founder of the Nicole LeClair Welding Bursary Award platform and has since received industry backing in order to issue 4 $2,000 bursaries in 2020. That's amazing. Congratulations, Nicole.
Thank you.
Nicole will be speaking to us about this wonderful opportunity in more detail during her presentation. In February 2018, Nicole was awarded the title Woman of Steel. Nicole will be sharing her journey, her story, and we really like what she stated, and it's very much her motto for her welding bursary: strive, persist, be in it with all your heart. Please extend a warm online welcome, Nicole. Nicole, the show is yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Before I get started, Gabby, I think you said you were going to change the screen?
Yes, hold on here. Let me see. Thought we had done that share screen.
Let me know if there's something I need to do on my end.
Well, you'll have to put in your goodies on your screen. So hold on. Okay, you should be able to now use your screen.
Oh, just click on myself.
Yeah.
Nothing is changing.
Okay.
That's okay. If I'm okay like this, if you guys are okay like this.
Yes, we are. Go ahead.
Okay.
I know you got a computer.
Yeah, I'm not normally this technologically dense. Okay, so first of all, thank you so much for having me as your guest. I'm very humbled that you guys cared to hear my story, and I feel like it's important to tell these stories because, you know, I'm a big proponent of, you know, you can't be what you can't see. And hopefully if somebody out there is listening right now and you're interested in getting into the trades or, you know, welding specifically, and maybe you think, hey, if she can do it, I can do it too. So if this helps even one person, I think it's definitely worth it. So thank you. And I really appreciate the time to listen to my story for the next 20 or so minutes. So basically going back, we have to start from the beginning. So when I was in high school, I graduated in 1994. And back then there wasn't a lot of push on the trades or people getting into trades, let alone women getting into trades. There were, however, some elective classes that you could take, you know, in high school, even in grade 7 and 8, woodworking and auto body and stuff like that. And I did take those courses, but at the time they always seemed like a fun elective class that you could take, but not something you could make a career out of. And so when it came time, you know, graduating high school and all my friends were applying to go to university and they all kind of knew what they wanted to be. And I didn't know what I wanted to be, but I knew I had to do something. And so basically I applied to university. Again, I'm from Ottawa, so I applied to Carleton University because I felt like I had to, because I felt like that's what everyone else was doing, so I have to do that too. So I did. I went to Carleton University and I lasted for a few months. I was just taking like Bachelor of Arts honors. I remember distinctly sitting in a psychology classroom, this big auditorium, and I was sitting there thinking, okay, so what happens once I graduate this program? You know, this is fast forward 4 years, I'm thinking, what's my job going to be? Where am I going to go to work? How am I going to earn my money? And I couldn't think of what that would be. And it kind of, that sort of realization, that aha moment kind of made me realize this isn't for me. And I just dropped out. I just dropped out of university. I thought, this is not for me. I need to spend some time really thinking about what I want to do. And at the time I was, again, in Ottawa living with my parents. I had just graduated high school. And, you know, my mom didn't want me staying at home, watching TV all day. So I had to do something else to keep myself busy. I worked at my part-time job at the time. I worked in a pharmacy. I just kind of made some money, bought my first car, really tried to evaluate what I could be good at. And, you know, the expression about find something that you love and you never have to work a day in your life. So I was like, well, what am I good at? I just thought I always liked working with my hands, fixing things, finding out how things worked. And that, you know, was kind of enough to make me turn on my own to the trades, because a lot of people will say, oh, is your dad a welder, or your brother or an uncle, or how did you get to be a welder? And it really was just through a lot of soul searching and kind of thinking about what sort of things I would like, and got to thinking about the trades. And then I knew what kind of trades I didn't want to do. Electricity, for example, still scares me a little bit. I didn't want to be a plumber, although I do some home renovations at this point in my life. But at the time, anyway, I thought about welding, and I thought, how cool is that, to fuse two pieces of metal together forever? And, you know, it just seemed like a really cool thing to do at the time. So I took a night class at Algonquin College in Ottawa, and this just speaks to how important continuing education classes are and night classes, because who knows what kind of passion that can spark in somebody who would want to pursue that further. And that's exactly what happened with me. I took an oxy-fuel class at Algonquin College, a night class, and honestly, it was enough to spark my interest in welding. And I literally dropped everything, moved to Sudbury, where I did my Welder Fitter program at Cambrian College. And that was a one-year program, and it was a very big class. There were 65 people in the class, and I was one of two girls in the class. And her and I are still in connection today, so, you know, you make good friends during these times. But anyway, so yeah, I mean, being one of two girls, right? A little daunting, and the class was so big, it was divided into two because it was so large. In any event, I loved it. That's when I initially first got my all positions to get in school, and I wound up graduating second highest out of those 65 people. So because of that, one of the employees at Cambrian came to me and they said, hey, you know, you're pretty good at this. Have you ever thought about welding engineering technology? And I'm like, no, I didn't even know that program existed. So I'm fortunate that somebody saw something, you know, in me at the time, because otherwise I might not have pursued my education in welding after I got my my welder fitter diploma. But no, luckily, because he came to me, I looked into it further, and I looked into, well, what is a welding engineering technologist, and do I want to pursue my welding education? That is a 3-year program, and to this day, it is only offered at 2 colleges in Ontario, Northern College in Kirkland Lake, and at the time it was Conestoga College's Guelph campus. So that's where I attended. I picked the lesser of 2 evils in terms of geography. So anyway, I wound up doing this 3-year welding engineering technology program, and I was able to accomplish it in 2 years because I had already taken my welder fitter program. So that exempted me from a couple of, you know, a couple of courses. I did have to take some summer classes to catch up, but I was able to do it in 2 years. So for that course, there was 14 people in the class. So it was a much, much smaller class. But again, I was still one of 2 girls in the class. Anyway, upon graduation, this was now 2001, and I had to get a job. At this point, this was almost, you know, the most welding education you could get in Canada, so I had to get out there and start making a living. And I worked at a welding distributor for many, many years, over 14 years. And at that point in my career, I enjoyed looking after a territory of customers. So I kind of felt like I was almost on the payroll of 100 different companies, because I would visit all these companies, and I would help them with, you know, whatever projects they were working on, helping them choose the right gas, so selecting a proper welding machine to buy, converting manual processes to automation. So selling like a 6-axis robotic arm in order to, you know, convert welding processes from manual processes to automation. So anyway, I got to do all that, and it was great. And I got to learn, you know, a whole lot more just by, of course, being out in the industry. And, but the thing that I enjoyed the most out of that time of looking after my clients was the educational aspect. I loved being able to go to my clients' locations and leave there knowing that, hey, they're better off for me having been there. I helped them. It was very gratifying. I enjoyed that aspect a lot. And so that kind of made me think about, maybe I should kind of channel my career pathway now to focus more on the educational side of things, because, you know, the path to your, you know, to success or to your true passion isn't always a straight line, as everybody knows, right? It's very curvy. And so, you know, always changing, lifelong learner. Anyway, so after about 14.5 years, I had an opportunity to leave this company. It was merging with another company, and I had an opportunity to get out and take this package. So I did. And at that point, I was able to take some time to kind of get recertified again in my welding tickets. I took a welding inspector's course at the Canadian Welding Bureau in Milton. I became a welding inspector. Like I said, got my all position tickets again, and kind of just primed myself to be ready to start my new career path. And how I started working at the first college I started working at Mohawk, I actually just reached out on my own to somebody I knew, didn't know, but I was told the name of the right person to contact at this college. And I feel like, you know, if you want to know, just ask. People who love what they do, you know, I feel like people want to talk about their passion and talk about their work. And sometimes instead of sitting back and wondering, just ask. So I just emailed the associate dean of the school, and I said, hey, you know, I'm thinking about, you know, what it would be like to be a teacher. I feel like it's something I might want to do, and would you have time to meet? I'd love to talk to you about it. So he had me in, and we sat down, and I thought we were just having a conversation about what it would be like and what a day in the life is like. And he wound up bringing in the welding program coordinator. And I guess I was in a job interview and didn't even know it, because after I left there, they sent me a letter of intent to hire. And so that kind of started from there. So I started out with just a few hours, and then I was like, yeah, I really do like this. And I just love being able to share my passion for the trade with the future welders of tomorrow. And that just kind of snowballed from there. So I worked more and more hours, and really, really love teaching at the college level. And then I expanded out as well when hours were getting more sparse or whatever. I'm a contract worker for them, so, you know, hours are fluctuating. So I also started working at Sheridan College as well at their Brampton location. So I work at both campuses, and I've done some contract work as well for the Canadian Welding Bureau with some course development stuff, and it just sort of expanded after that. And during this whole time, I've also kept improving my own skills. I became an international welding technologist as well. Having had my previous diploma, I was able to apply for that through the Canadian Welding Bureau. They are the kind of governing body for the IIW, the International Institute of Welding, and that's who gives out these diplomas. So I did that, and I applied for my Red Seal as well to write my test to become a Red Seal welder. So for those of you that know, there are two avenues with which you can attain your Red Seal. You can be a registered apprentice and earn your 6,000 hours, or you can apply through, it's called TEA, a trade equivalency assessment. As long as you've earned your hours and you have an employee vouch for your time and whatnot, you can apply and write your test. So then I got my Red Seal as well. So I feel like it's important to not, you know, rest on your laurels, and to always keep educating yourself, especially if you're working with students, to show that not only, you know, can you talk about the trade, but you're kind of there learning with them and progressing along the way, and being able to refer back to other courses that you've done recently. So in any event, that's kind of, you know, what led me to where I am now. And something very important that I also developed a couple of years ago is, during this whole time, you know, it has been going on almost 20 years. I really feel strongly about, I wish I had written them all down, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, if anyone wants to Google Arnold Schwarzenegger 6 Rules of Success, I feel very strongly about them all, and a lot of them are just very simple, like work your butt off, you know, give something back to your community, don't be afraid to fail, these types of things. And the last one was to give something back. And that's kind of, you know, one of the reasons why I started looking into developing the Nicole LeClair Welding Bursary Award, because I too was a recipient of a bursary back in 2001 for $1,000 from the Canadian Welding Bureau. And, you know, that helped me out as a poor student. And, you know, if you have the drive and the passion, I wouldn't want a financial reason to be the reason why it's holding you back and why you can't pursue your studies and pursue the trade of your choice. So I did founded by donating money to this fund. And I called it the Nicole LeClair Welding Bursary Award. Once I established it, it takes about a year to establish itself, get some return on investment kind of thing. And last year, I was able to give away my first award for, at the time, it was $1,500. And the winner lived in Northern Ontario. I kept the award recipients or the applicants to be within the province of Ontario, because I kind of wanted to keep the idea of keeping manufacturing in Ontario and keeping it local, so that the winners, I could hopefully meet them and shake their hand or take them out to lunch and have that kind of mentoring aspect with them as well. And I felt like that would be able to be done more easily if I kept it within Ontario. So he won. The money goes directly against their tuition to their educational institution. And so, you know, that was amazing to have that first bursary be awarded. Now, since then, you know, there's been some articles that have come out on the bursary, and you know, gotten some donations as well, because anyone that donates, they are able to get a tax receipt. So I'm hoping that as time goes on, it is only in the second year, but that hopefully some manufacturing companies within Ontario might choose to donate, because they do get a tax receipt, and they're helping educate a welder in Ontario that hopefully maybe they can later even hire, and, you know, have these skilled, educated tradespeople coming in to work for them. So it's kind of a win-win situation. And I did get some industry backing. So through Lindy, which is a gas manufacturer and a welding distributor, they have promised me some money every year for 3 years. So not only am I able to offer my bursary that I would have been offering regardless, now I can offer an additional 3 $2,000 bursaries. So I'll be issuing 4 $2,000 bursaries. And it actually, the application deadline has been extended to the end of June, because just what with everything going on with the state of the world right now, I don't think a lot of people were thinking about applying for the bursary. And so it would have normally ended at the end of May, but we've extended it to the end of June. So there's still time. So anybody who's watching or listening, you know, there's still time. I'm sure that Gabby and Josie will be sharing the link, but I can share that or type that in later as well. So yeah, that it was just so amazing to have that kind of backing and support. And there's actually a really kind of a cool story that goes along with how this happened. And I think that you guys can appreciate this, because Women Mean Business is a great networking type of organization. And how I essentially wound up getting this donation was from networking and building bridges years and years and years ago that I never knew in a million years could have benefited me today. So way back when I was working for my the welding distributor that I initially started working at out of school, I had reached out to somebody who had posted a video through our company, posted a video on International Women's Day. And I just sent them a note, and I didn't know who they were really, or like what capacity they held in the company. And I just sent them an email saying, hey, that's a great video, I watched it and it was really cool. And so she wrote me back, and we had a little discussion, and that was that. She wound up working out of the States, but you know, every International Women's Day after that, I would send her a note. And it turns out that the following year, I was featured through the company for an article on International Women's Day. So it was kind of funny. The following year, I got to say, oh, hey, remember me from last year? Now I'm on their website. And so it just happened year after year after year. And then, as you know from my story now, I stopped working there about years ago or so, and I thought, oh, I don't work there anymore. Should I still send the email? I'm like, yeah, for sure. So I sent her the email, told her, yeah, I'm no longer working there, but this is what I'm doing now. And anyway, and then eventually it got to the point where I told her about my bursary. But it had just started. And anyway, the following year, she sent this information to their global giving campaign. And it was through that they then, their global giving campaign contacted me, and the donation was made. So just kind of speaks volumes as to, you know, networking and building bridges and being, you know, you never know. So I'm just so grateful for her support. And not only can I look forward to that this year, but for the next 2 years as well, having that extra donation. And the motto to my bursary is strive, persist, be in it with all your heart. And that is essentially the kind of attributes that I'm looking for when I'm selecting the winners. You know, aside from them having to attach their transcripts and some basic information, the key thing is where you learn the most is in the open-ended question, why do you think you're the best candidate for this bursary? And people really can, you know, pour their hearts out to you, and you learn a lot through that, and find out, you know, maybe they had a co-op in welding or worked a part-time job doing it, or just you can tell and read between the lines of the passion that really exists. So those are the type of candidates that I'm looking for, and yeah, happy to be offering 4 bursaries this year. So in addition, I also wanted to just also mention a few little stats that women in the construction trades in general represent 4 to 5% in the construction trades. However, women in welding represent about 9%. So it seems to be that women are more drawn of other trades anyways to welding. So, but as it shakes out overall as an average, 4 to 5% overall. So we have a long ways to go for sure. I like that there's more, you know, 9% in welding, but that's single digits. We need double digits. We've got to get those numbers up there because, you know, absolutely no reason whatsoever. I try all the time to dispel the myths because, you know, it's not always, you know, a dirty job in a poor environment and, you know, burning rod all day. Welding offers so many opportunities. You know, it's unbelievable the things that you can do with welding, especially depending on the type of the background you have in your educational background. I mean, you can get into robotics, you can get into metallurgy, you can get into weld failure, you can be a foreman, an inspector, an instructor. You know, there are so many different types of jobs that you can get being a welder, or even if you are just you know, manual welding is awesome. I love being under a helmet. And when it's just, that may sound a little silly, but for me, when you put your helmet down and it's just you and the arc, I find it very meditative. Like I find it kind of relaxing. And I love it. Anyways, yeah, so that's basically my story. And I'm, you know, just happy to answer any questions that you guys may have. And I hope that, you know, like I said, this has evolved over many years. So never in a million years did I think even 10 years ago that, you know, I'd be doing what I do now. But I'm very grateful for having found this avenue and being able to do what I love and share it with future welders of tomorrow. And also having a hand in helping, you know, future welders, not just with their tuition, not just financially, but hopefully acting as a resource that they know that they can reach out and ask me a question at any time, and you know, to support them.
Thank you, Nicole. You know, you really align so well with our motto that Josie and I had created when we first began Women in Business, and we called it Inspire, Ignite, and Just Imagine. So you really covered that so well.
Yeah. I should also mention that this bursary will go on in perpetuity. So I've set it up such that long after I'm gone, this will still go on in perpetuity. So obviously I had to connect with a company that could continue this on my behalf. So who better than the Canadian Welding Bureau? And they have partnered with me. And the Canadian Welding Bureau's Welding Foundation is hosting the landing page for the application process. So they have been an awesome partner for me during all of this and help support the application process. So if you were to go to my site and click on the application to apply, it takes you to the Canadian Welding Bureau's Foundation's site to apply.
We will make sure all that information is available to everyone as well. This has all been recorded. It will be on our YouTube channel. It will be in our newsletter, so that all the information will be there. And as I said, you certainly are an inspiration, and you've done some wonderful things. What a lovely story to share, and we encourage everyone to connect with you that have any questions. But here are some questions that have come up. So actually, in your classes right now, how many women are there? Remember when you were saying there was just 2 of you at the very early days?
Yes.
So how many women are there now in your classes, roughly?
Well, I'm happy to say that the numbers have went up, but not as high as I would like. And it depends on the class. I've had as many as about 4, and keep in mind that the maximum number is always 20. So there's 20 welding booths in the shop, and so we have a maximum amount of 20. Typically, sometimes there's just 1. Also, I should also mention that not only am I teaching sometimes like the welding program, classes for that program, but also the welding component to other trades. So it's also, I think, an important thing to mention that welding of all trades is the most versatile, transferable skill that one could learn, because think about plumbers need to know how to weld, millwrights, even carpenters have a welding component to their apprenticeship. Even they need to know how to stick weld and do some oxy-fuel cutting. So I'm also teaching the welding component to other trades. So, sometimes, if I have a group of plumbers, teaching them the welding component, there's usually a couple of women as a plumbing apprentice, carpenters as well. Millwrights, not as many, but yeah, in general, I would say they're very similar in numbers, maybe a little bit higher. Not as high as I would like.
We have a question here from Catherine Bell. What are the most important soft skills that need to be used in a welding job trades position?
In a welding job trade, so just like as a manual welder, I mean, I think you have to have a good sense of humor. You have to let things roll off your back. You gotta have thick skin. As much as we have progressed in the trades, I feel like there's still a little ways to go, and not everybody is a big supporter of women in the trades, as all of us may be. So, I mean, I think that you just have to be able to get along with a lot of people, have a good sense of humor, get along, and not take yourself too seriously at times. That's basically the best advice I can give you in that regard.
The other question is how can we attract more women to the college trades programs? Any thoughts, ideas on that?
Well, I think by doing things like we're doing right now, and remember how I said, well, you can't be what you can't see. I think even small things, like if a college is going to have a poster up on a bus stop or something advertising, why not have the woman there dressed up in all of the personal protective gear, and to see it more, to host more women in trades and technology events and have networking gatherings, and to have more available courses for like the night classes. I know even Mohawk offers a women in welding class, just to make it more accessible, talked about more. Hey, here's one for you. It's just to have a female washroom on site, because believe it or not, there are some manufacturing companies out there, they don't even have washrooms for the women to use. They'll have to go and use like a washroom in the office, because I mean, we need to have these things in place. So I know here it is 2020 and we still don't have sometimes the proper necessities on site. So
it's an entire culture shift completely again, right? That's needed. So, but you're doing wonderful things to create that, planting those seeds of thought, all that you're doing. I'm just going a few more questions here. From Melissa, how do we promote Canadian students to the trade schools? I see most of the current student positions going to international students in our region, and they do not tend to stay in the country or industry. Are you experiencing this? Or
Well, the only experience I have with international students, I know some colleges actually market to international students and, you know, promote it for certain programs. I feel like the millwright program is a big one, but just for welders, I haven't personally noticed that. But it is true that it is marketed sometimes to promote them. And you know, this person's question is a good one, because obviously we would want to train people who are going to stay in the country and work and support our economy. So sorry, was the question what could we do to promote?
I think you answered some of that, to keep them here. Okay. And, you know, as I said, I think that's all part of the entire program in manufacturing trades, to make sure they're...
Yeah, I haven't had a lot of experience with that, but I can speak to the fact that sometimes it is marketed to have a lot of international student enrollment. But yeah, she raises a good point.
Yeah, something to think about and also work on and improve, I suppose. Another one, Marley F. She says, where are you currently teaching? How can I reach out to you? I've wanted to weld for a long time and you inspire me. So I'll make sure that she gets your email address. I'll send it out personally to her, and then the two of you can connect.
Yeah, for sure. So the website that you'll be posting as well for the Bursary Award, my email address is on there as well.
Okay.
So you can always feel free to reach out and ask me anything, or you can go on Facebook to the Nicole LeClair Welding Bursary Award, and you can send a message through there as well. And I'm always pretty quick to respond to those messages.
Wonderful. I just want to have a quick check. Thank you so much, Nicole. This has been fabulous. We thank you for your time. I know you're a very busy lady and that you're in Ottawa doing this for us, so appreciate that. And also to Scott for being with us this morning. We appreciate your support and belief in all that we do. And Nicole, we will certainly stay in touch and being part of our saluting our women in trades and manufacturing. Anytime you wish to share more information with us, please do. We do have an e-newsletter that goes out every 2 weeks. This is just the beginning. This was sort of our tribute for the month of June, but it doesn't mean it ends there. We will continue on this journey to support.
Okay, that sounds great. Maybe I could share with you in a couple of months, for example, the winners of like the 4 winners from the Bursary Award, perhaps, sure. And share that.
Would be awesome. Would be great. So thank you. And I know Josie has an announcement to make as well for our next presentation next week. Josie?
Yeah. So Nicole, thank you again. That was very inspiring. And there was quite a few educational questions. So I hope many of you can join us next Tuesday, because it's going to be focusing on the high school students and attracting them. So it's called Saluting Our Youth in Trades, Experiential Learning and Building Opportunities for Students. In the Limestone District School Board, the students participate in hands-on experiential learning classes that integrate traditional curriculum while also illustrating the rewarding, lucrative careers that exist in the skilled trades. So please do join us with Melissa Cox, Jeff Petznick, and Jason Kenneville from the Limestone District School Board's Expanded Opportunities team to learn together how they are building teacher capacity, engaging students, and promoting exciting career pathways to students. So actually, for those of you who had questions on how to attract more people into the trades, especially young people, that will be a very good one to listen to. So thank you so much, everyone, for coming.
Yeah, and it's great that we
again,
all,
Scott.
Yeah, yes. And it's great that we can come together as a province. I mean, with this Zoom, it's just wonderful. So you're all welcome to check us out more. If you're not sure of Women Mean Business, go to our website, www.womenmeanbusiness.ca. By all means, subscribe. It's free. You'll get our e-newsletter, which are full of resources and always great information. So we hope to see you all next week. And everything, the Eventbrite registration is already online under events, and you can register for next week, and we look forward to welcoming each of you. Thank you so much from both Josie and myself. Have a great week. And Nicole and Scott, thank you again. Until the next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Nice meeting you, Nicole.
You too.
Have a good week. Bye-bye now.